way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby.
Hi, I'm Danica Schultz. I'm an ex-PADI student and I've graduated from the University of Queensland with a degree in environmental management. So the reason I did that degree is because I loved Earth Environmental Science with Miss Tilsley. I love the environment and I wanted to make a difference. I just didn't really know how. So that degree was awesome because it was so broad. So, you know, you could be a consultant, you could be a researcher in a lab, you could work with kids, you could do biosecurity, you could do anything. So it was a really good jumping off point to figure out what I loved. And I found out what I loved the most was working outdoors and working with animals and working with people. So that kind of landed me in a job that I love. And so now I'm the QrU1pTO2Xl0 coordinator. So QrU is a tiny little remote community in the Gibson Desert. It's actually the most remote community in Australia. And so IPA coordinator means Indigenous Protected Area Coordinator. So my role is basically being the scientist that brings all that kind of Western science knowledge in to match with the Indigenous traditional knowledge that the elders have that I work with. Okay. So if Nellie's found some trucks, we just kind of circle around, big loops, make noise, so that with that we'll run away. It might be in these big trees, so we kind of just cruise around. She's over there. We're cruising around, aren't we, Yati? Cruising around, looking for tracks. Yati and Kim in the back, professional trackers, so they can see. But I can't see out too much, but they can see the tracks in the sand. Nothing? So, together we look after threatened species. So we have bilbies and grey desert skinks out in the QrU1pTO2Xl0. So looking after those, we do a lot of the classic science, lots of monitoring, lots of camera trapping, all of those types of things. So we always hunt goannas and, you know, snakes and witchetty grubs and all of these different things. And also use the hunting to hunt feral animals, so hunting and killing feral cats to make sure they're not hurting the native wildlife. So we do that. We cull camels, things. We also do fire, so you would have heard of fire stick farming and mosaic burning that Aboriginal people have been doing for thousands of years. So I'm out driving around in the desert doing that with them, which is really fun. We also work with the school heaps, so it's really important to these elders that their knowledge gets passed on to the younger generations. So we take the kids out bush and teach them, so I'm there teaching them the science background of everything while the old ladies are teaching them while they do it, the traditional burning and the dreaming stories of those animals, which is really special. So my job is not just looking after the environment. I also get to, get to teach kids. I get to hang out with incredibly traditional, beautiful Aboriginal elders that have a wealth of knowledge of how to look after the environment. And I get to look after animals and plants. I get to look after bush foods and bush medicines, and it's all very, very cool. So I absolutely love my job. I'm camping all the time. I'm always outdoors. I really get to see the difference that I'm making. So if you're anything like me and that sounds like something you'd love to do, I definitely recommend it. It's awesome being a woman in science out in the field doing it. I love the idea of making a difference, but I wasn't too keen to be someone sitting in a lab. So this has been the best part of my life. So I'll give my email to Miss Tilsley. For anyone, please feel free to reach out. I'm so happy to answer your questions, to tell you what it's all about, because it's been absolutely amazing. Thank you. Bye. Hi guys, my name's Ella. I'm a past Mount St. Pat student and I'm in my 4th and final year of clinical exercise physiology at Griffith University. For those who don't know what an exercise physiologist does, we work with programming and prescribing exercises for populations with chronic illnesses, conditions and injuries. So that could be people with motor neuron disease to people who've just had a hip replacement. So the spectrum is really broad, there's a lot of different clients, so I found that really interesting. I got into this degree because I had a sporting background, I loved health and fitness, and I was tossing up between physio and all those kind of allied health spectrums. But I'm really glad I've stuck with clinical exercise physiology. I found it to be really rewarding as I've been able to help people and combine my love for fitness and health and all things like that. So if you are thinking about getting into exercise physiology, please consider it. It has just been voted the second growing profession in Australia. So it is an awesome time to get into this degree, and if you're anything like me, I think you'll really enjoy it. Thanks.
Hey, I'm Anthea and I was a 2019 graduate at Paddy's. I'm about to start my 4th year of UNSW medicine, and this year's mostly research. I barely have any clinical time. I'll show you the spot where my research is based. It's just up the road. The reason that I wanted to do medicine and get involved with a science degree was because I always loved sciences at school, and I liked that medicine could combine sciences and working with people, and I've been loving it so far. Studying science at university is a lot of fun. It's very challenging and it's a very exciting industry because it seems to always be changing and there's new opportunities coming out all the time. I was fortunate enough to get a rural and sort of community involvement scholarship at UNSW, which it helps me a lot with living out of home, and I'd like to mention that there are lots of scholarship opportunities and things like that for women in STEM and women in sciences, so have a look around. So I've just walked up the street a bit, but UNSW is down there. That's Prince of Wales Hospital, and my research, which I haven't started, is going to be in the Bright Alliance, which is that building up there. My research is based upon adolescents and young adults with cancer and evaluating current resources to support them and making proposals for future resources. So I'm super excited to start that, and it looks like a good team I'm going to be working with for the year.
Hi everyone, my name's Riley and I graduated from Mount St. Patrick College in 2013. I think it's really great to celebrate the sciences, but in particular women in science. So I was really excited when asked to share a little bit of my science journey with you all since leaving Mount St. Pat's. After finishing high school, I studied at the University of Sydney and completed a Bachelor of Applied Science in Diagnostic Radiography. For those who don't know, a radiographer is a medical practitioner who performs X-rays, CTs and mammograms. For me, like many of you, I really had not much idea what I wanted to do when I finished high school. But at school, I was fascinated by the physics behind the incredible machines that I get to use today, which is what drew me towards studying radiography. I also knew that no matter my trajectory, studying science subjects would always open doors for me, no matter where I chose to take it. My studies at university range from anatomy and physiology to complex physics subjects, as well as of course the practical component of using X-ray and CT machines. I've now been working as a radiographer for 5 years and I love it. I work in a private clinic, so my typical day includes seeing anywhere between 20 to 50 patients a day, so it definitely keeps me on my toes. I've also been lucky enough to be involved in a variety of other projects along the way whilst working in the science field too. The University of Technology in Sydney, or UTS, has a fantastic research-based lab where doctors and orthopaedic companies work together to create cutting-edge technologies for new joint replacements. As a radiographer, I perform pre-op and intraoperative imaging for them. I've also connected myself with local vets in my area and perform CT and X-ray scans for little dogs and cats that aren't feeling too well. As a dog lover, this really fills my cup. With radiography, you can always be learning something new. challenging yourself further. Currently now, I'm halfway through studying my master's degree in medical imaging at the University of Sydney, and I hope to graduate at the end of this year with a specialisation in computer tomography. If any of you are considering studying radiography, or if you want to know a little bit more, please reach out to me. I'm sure Mrs. Traveller can pass on my email to anyone interested. Thanks guys!
Hi everyone, my name's Ella Heiniger and I'm an ex-student from Mount St. Pat's who graduated in 2015. Going through high school, I never knew exactly what I wanted to do, but I always had a passion for maths and science, and I really wanted to use these skills to help improve the lives of others. I then went on to study a Bachelor of Biomedical and Electrical Engineering at Griffith Uni on the Gold Coast. This degree enabled me to gain a role with Queensland Health as a biomedical engineer, helping to maintain the medical equipment in Queensland hospitals. This role includes maintaining the equipment from the procurement phase right through to the equipment disposal, and investigating any incidents which may occur while the medical equipment is on patients. So this is your sign to follow your strengths and passions, and you'll be able to find a job you love as much as I do.
As a kid, I started falling behind in maths, so Mum encouraged me to work ahead so that what I did in class was revision. This confidence led me to accelerate and do the HSC for maths in Year 10. I think this sense of achievement and pride fostered my love of maths. When it came time to choose something to study at university, I wanted something mathsy, so I went into actuarial studies. However, I missed science. I missed experiments in biology and chemistry, so I transferred to a Bachelor of Science and majored in mathematics. Firstly, I worked in finance at a startup company doing operations, but I started learning coding, which I found to be easier because of my mathematical background. I missed studying and I wanted to add a medical lens to my studies, so I did a Master of Public Health part-time. This led me to a job at Cancer Council New South Wales. For 3 years, I worked in the HPV and cervical cancer team as a data analyst. I worked on the safety monitoring of the cervical screening program for both Australia and New Zealand, as well as a world-first clinical trial of over 70,000 people with cervixes comparing HPV testing and liquid-based cytology for the purpose of cervical cancer screening. Recently, I wanted to get more experience and try something different, so I moved to Westpac and now to ClearScore, a credit check company, as a senior data analyst. ClearScore prides itself on being data-driven, so I get to do lots of coding, experiments, and making pretty tables and graphs to work out how we can best acquire high-value customers. Science is for anyone who is interested and can take you many places.
Hi, my name is Ashley Selwood. I graduated Mount St. Pat's in 2018 and now work full-time as a scientific officer at New South Wales Health Pathology, Lismore. During high school, my favourite subjects were always the sciences. I was a part of the accelerated chemistry class with Mrs. Shirar in years 10 and 11 and did biology for my HSC as well. Science was always a logical progression for me, and as I love exploring how the world works. I studied the Bachelor of Biomedical Science at Southern Cross University with the original plan of continuing to Doctor of Medicine, but as soon as I completed my practical, I knew I wanted to stay in the lab. I now work in the Microbiology lab at Lismore Base Hospital, diagnosing bacterial and viral infections. We process samples such as urine, faeces, wound swabs, blood cultures, and tissue biopsies, just to name a few. And it's always different, and there is always something new.
Hi, my name's QrU1pTO2Xl0. I graduated from Mount St. Pat's in 2018. I went straight to uni from school and I studied paramedicine. My paramedicine degree was 2.5 years. It was an accelerated one. It was pretty full on. We did kind of like 5 days a week, 9-hour days, because it was all in person. It's a very hands-on course, which is one of the reasons why I really liked it. I graduated in 2021 and I currently work for New South Wales Ambulance as a paramedic, and I'm currently stationed at the Kingsleaf station. I really love my job. It's really amazing that I get to work as a paramedic every day, getting to meet really amazing people. I definitely chose the job because of the autonomy that we have compared to other allied health professionals.
Hi and hello to everybody there in Mount St. Patrick's. My name is Barbara. I'm Rhiannon's mum in Year 12, and I'd like to wish you all a happy International Women in Science Day. I made a little short video to talk to you today about a career in nursing, which is a very challenging but very rewarding career. When I was at school, your age, I decided I'd love to do nursing and applied for nursing directly after I did my final exams at school. I went on and did a degree in general nursing, BSN, and then I subsequently did a postgraduate in paediatric nursing and midwifery, which is where I really specialised, and I worked in paediatric intensive care and neonatal intensive care for a number of years. Thoroughly enjoyable. I really loved that time of my career. I then decided to pursue education again, and I did a Master's in Education from Deakin University in Australia. And following that, I worked at the university and I taught the paediatric and midwifery element of the nursing programme. So that was really enjoyable, really rewarding. It's just so lovely to be able to impart knowledge to other people and to watch other people grow in a career that you've loved. I worked there for a number of years, and then I went back to the hospital setting and I worked inside the hospital as an educator with students again that were on placement from universities. That was also really rewarding because it's lovely to see people use the skills and the knowledge that they've gained to benefit others. It's very, very enjoyable. I then changed again and I went back to university again, and I did a Master's in Healthcare Administration, actually on your doorstep just there at Southern Cross University, which was fabulous, and I enjoyed that again. Following that, I took a job as the Executive Director of Nursing of a cardiac hospital, which is, to understand, it's only heart. So our organisation only does heart surgeries, complex heart surgeries for adults, children, neonates. We only cater to anything with the heart. It's truly rewarding. It's so fabulous to be able to see people recover. While I'm not on the front line anymore, I'm there for everybody on the front line, and I really enjoy it. As you all know, we had a very challenging time last year and the year before with COVID, but as with everything, we overcame that, and everything is back to normal now. One of the truly amazing things about nursing is the ability to travel. So the job is wonderful. You can transfer the skills anywhere. Myself, I've worked in England, Ireland, Australia, America and Saudi Arabia. So you can easily go from country to country, and the skills are just the same in each country, what's required. And it means you get to see the world and do something you love at the same time. Well, I'd like to wish you all a lovely day and have a lovely year, and good luck in your final year in whatever you decide to do. But if any of you would like to take up nursing or like to talk to me at any time about a career in nursing, I'm certainly willing to be available to talk or to offer my email if you've any more questions. And
hi everyone! Happy International Women and Girls in Science Day. My name is Dr. Jordan DeBono and I'm a past Paddy's girl. Miss Tilsley and some of the science teachers asked me to say a few words for today to help commemorate the day and your activities there at school. So a little bit about myself. I now live in Melbourne. I work for a company called CSL, or Commonwealth Serum Laboratories, and we are famous for being Australia's largest pharmaceutical company. We're the second largest influenza company globally. But what I'm really proud about is that we developed Australia's antivenoms, which is what I look after. So I'm the scientific advisor for all of the antivenoms in Australia, and a vaccine called QVax, which is for a disease called Q fever. So it's really, really Australian specific. what I work on, which is really cool, and it's really specific to rural and remote medicine. And I look after the whole country. But a little bit about myself. So as I said, I am from Paddy's. I went to Paddy's. I graduated in 2009, so that shows my age. But it was a journey. It was a real journey to get to where I am at the moment, and it was by no means an easy feat. But the short form of the story is I didn't get the ATAR that I wanted. I took subjects like Chem, Bio, Senior Science, PE, Religion, English, Advanced English I should say, Maths, and I was really hoping for this particular ATAR score, which I didn't get, but I ended up getting into UQ for a Bachelor of Science. And at the time, that wasn't really what I wanted to do, but it was a way in. And I deferred for a year. I lived in Germany as an exchange student. So if you've got questions about that, Miss Tilsley can pass on my details, and I'm happy to talk all about that. I got into UQ and we're starting to do a Bachelor of Science. And throughout that, I failed a few subjects. I was working 3 jobs. I moved to a new city. There was a lot happening. So it was a bit of a rough start to my university journey. But it led me down a pathway of zoology, and zoology opened up all of these amazing doors. I was able to volunteer in various labs, so looking after frogs and crocodiles, and I was working in the venom lab. I was exposed to subjects like marine biology and conservation and climate change and earth sciences and genetics, and some really, really cool subjects, some fascinating lectures, and my mind was just blown with where science could take me and what science could provide as well. So that led me down the path of research, and I really, really fell in love with research, and I finished my Bachelor of Science. I went to university thinking I would walk out with my degree and then that would be it, but I stayed for 10 years. I finished my Bachelor of Science. I went into an honours degree, which is a year of research, and I was in the Venom Evolution Lab working on some really cool stuff, and that then led me down the pathway of a PhD because I wanted to stay on the research trajectory. I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know where I wanted to go with it, but I knew that it was going to provide a lot of really cool opportunities for me to see the world, which it did. So my PhD, or for those of you who don't know, a PhD is a doctorate of philosophy, which is a 3 to 3.5 year really intense degree of research, and you are very specific, specialized in a very niche area of science. And for me, that was snake venom evolution, but more specifically looking at venom and its effects on our blood system and things that we could create and make, and information that we can gain from that on how to create pharmaceuticals or drugs. But drugs for blood clotting disorders. So for people who suffer from haemophilia or diabetes, or they have trouble clotting their blood, or they clot too much, preventative stroke medication, that can all come from snake venom and the activity. So that's where my research was for 3.5 years. And I walked away with my doctorate in 2019. So I graduated 2019 from UQ. And I knew that I wanted to stay in science, and I knew I had this love of research, but I didn't want to stay in academia. I thought that I could do more. I loved the lab, I loved the lab work, but I loved science communication more. So, and I really discovered that during my PhD. I was able to present at Oxford University, present in Berlin, in Germany, present in China and all over Australia. I was on national TV and radio a couple of times. I've got episodes of science shows like Scope, podcasts, news articles, lots of different random pieces of science communication, but I absolutely loved it. And I didn't know that before I started, and science is just one of those beautiful things that you don't know what's going to happen, and it just has all of these opportunities for you. I met some really cool people along the way as well, but my PhD and my journey of science has done this like loop thing, and it's led me to where I am now. So being a part of CSL, such an Australian made, it's such a wonderful company for what they do for public health and for Australians and for our neighbours as well. But more importantly, the portfolio that I look after is really close and to me and my background, especially from rural and remote medicine. So yeah, this is where I am. I've been here for about 1.5 years and still learning lots, but I still, I love what I do, and I wake up every day knowing that I can make a small difference somewhere in the world. So yeah, that's me. Happy International Women's and Girls in Science Day. Enjoy the festivities. If you have any questions, Miss Tilsley and the other science teachers have all of my contact details. You can follow me on Twitter and look up my YouTube, LinkedIn. But if you've got any questions about uni or what I do, or my journey or exchange, reach out. But sorry I can't be there, but have a great day. Bye.
Hi, I'm Dr. Magella Mumford and I graduated from Mount St. Pat's in 2010. I'm now the Head of Greenhouse Gas Assessment with the Agricultural Sustainability Certification Company, Carbon Friendly. During school, I studied as much science as they would let me. I studied chemistry, biology and earth and environmental science, and I was taught by Miss Shara, Miss Tilsley and Miss McFarlane. My teachers provided me with the inspiration to chase my dream of becoming a scientist, and I cannot thank them enough for their patience and support, especially during my HSC. Not one to picture myself in a lab coat, I studied soil science and environmental science at Queensland University of Technology. I then completed my doctorate with the support of Dairy Australia and investigated ways to reduce nitrous oxide emissions from dairy soils. I now work with farmers across all areas of agriculture to quantify their greenhouse gas emissions and develop strategies to reduce their carbon footprint. We are creating pathways for farmers to supply carbon neutral products to the marketplace and ensure that farmers are being rewarded and heroed for changing their farming practices and reducing their footprint. My work and studies have taken me all over Australia and the world. I was a guest scientist at the Institute for Meteorology and Climate Research in Germany and have collaborated with the National Centre for Science Research in France. These were amazing opportunities for me as I was able to work alongside my science heroes whose papers I had been reading for years. In my current role with Carbon Friendly, I work with oyster farmers in Coffin Bay, dairies in Tasmania, cotton farmers in India, orchards in Spain, and some of the biggest beef producers in the world, all with the common goal to reduce their impact on the environment. Fortunately for me, science is not all data, analytics and test tubes, and I've always loved the problem-solving aspect of science, gathering the evidence, determining the cause of the problem, and finally working to find a solution. However, the most rewarding aspect of my work is communicating the science, breaking it down to its core concepts so that we all understand climate change and our role in the fight against it. I am fortunate that my work enables me to make a real difference to real people every day. Happy International Day of Women and Girls in Science. There are many amazing opportunities in the world of science, even for a girl from Mount St. Pat's. So ask your teacher for advice, reach out to former students, and use the resources available to you to explore and discover as much as you can.